If you are thinking about picking one up, I just want to walk you through my experience living with it through a full cooling season and a stretch of real winter weather. I'm not talking about what it claims to do on paper. I mean what it felt like day to day, what went smoothly, and what took more effort than I expected. At a basic level, this is a ductless mini split system with an indoor wall unit and an outdoor condenser. It is for someone who wants quiet heating and cooling in a specific area without running new ducts. In my case, I used it for a medium-sized living space that stays occupied a lot of the day and night, so sound and comfort mattered more to me than anything. My authentic first impression was that it felt more like serious cold weather equipment than a delicate home appliance. The indoor unit is simple and clean in white. It does not scream for attention on the wall, and that matters if you are putting it in a bedroom or a main room. The hidden display is one of my favorite small details. When the system is off, the display basically disappears. And when I want the room dark, I can shut the display off from the remote without messing around. The plastic on the indoor unit feels solid enough. It does not feel like it is going to creak every time the louvers move. The louvers also move smoothly, and after months of use I have not had any weird clicking or binding. The remote is not fancy, but I actually like that. It has real buttons, and in daily use that means I can change fan speed or toggle the light without digging through a bunch of screens. Outside, the condenser felt heavier than I expected when it arrived, and that gave me a little confidence going into winter. It came with a line set length that worked for my layout, and the included wiring harness helped keep the install straightforward from a routing perspective. That said, I want to be really clear about something. This is not a plug-in appliance. It needs a proper electrical circuit, and it needs the refrigerant lines handled the right way. The hardest part of owning this unit was not using it. It was getting it installed and commissioned correctly. I did the physical mounting and routing myself. I mounted the indoor unit, drilled the pass-through, ran the lines, and made sure the drain had a clean downhill path. Then I had to find a heating and cooling technician to do the vacuum and leak check before releasing refrigerant. That took longer than I expected. A few places I called did not want to touch it. I eventually found a technician who pulled a deep vacuum, checked it with a micron gauge, verified it held, and then finished the final steps. If you care about warranty coverage, keep that invoice and any commissioning paperwork. I treated that like it was as important as the unit itself. Once it was powered up, daily operation was easy. I set my modes, set a temperature, and the inverter compressor behavior did the rest. If you have not lived with an inverter system before, the main difference you notice is the steadier comfort. Instead of blasting on at full power and then shutting off, it tends to run lower and longer. In my space, that translated to fewer temperature swings and fewer moments where I felt a sudden rush of cold air or hot air. Noise is a big part of why I think people consider a mini split in the first place, and this one did well for me. On the lowest indoor fan setting, it is the kind of sound that fades into the background. At night, I can sleep with it running and I do not fixate on it. The outdoor unit is audible, but it never turned into an annoyance for me. It sounds like a normal piece of outdoor equipment, and it has not drawn any complaints. Cooling performance in real life was strong in my room size. On hot days, I would hit turbo for a short burst if I came in from outside and wanted the space comfortable quickly. After that, I usually left it in a normal cooling mode with a manual fan speed. Humidity control was also noticeable. The air felt less sticky, even when I did not set the temperature extremely low. That is one of those things you notice more in your body than on a thermostat. Heating is where I paid the closest attention, because winter performance is the whole reason I picked this model. I had several mornings that dipped into the single digits Fahrenheit, and the system kept the room comfortable without me needing backup heat. It did not feel like it was barely hanging on. It kept producing warm air and holding the space where I wanted it. I did see defrost cycles during cold, damp conditions. That is normal for heat pumps. The unit will pause and change behavior for a bit, and you might see steam outside. In my case, it was not alarming, just something to understand so you do not think it is failing. I did run into a couple of real quirks that are worth sharing. The biggest one happened in cooling mode on a humid day when I left the fan in automatic. Airflow stayed lower than I wanted, and I started to see frost forming on the indoor coil. That is not something you want to ignore. It is usually a sign that the coil is getting too cold for the airflow going across it. My fix was simple. I stopped using automatic fan in cooling and switched to a fixed low or medium fan speed. After that, the frosting did not come back. The Follow Me feature on the remote was also mixed for me. The idea is that the system uses the temperature sensor in the remote so it conditions the air where you are sitting, not where the indoor unit is mounted. In my space, it sometimes overshot the heating set point by a few degrees, and I did not love that. I ended up leaving Follow Me off and letting the system use its own sensors, which gave me steadier results. The mobile app worked well enough for what I needed. I used it for basic on and off, mode changes, temperature changes, and scheduling. It is not the kind of app that makes you want to spend time inside it, but it did the job. I did have one moment where it lost connection after a router update and I had to reconnect it. After that, it stayed stable. Voice control through Alexa was convenient when my hands were full. It is the sort of thing I use in small moments, like bumping the temperature up a bit without grabbing the remote. Maintenance has been pretty simple. I keep the filters clean, and I run the self-clean function occasionally. In my experience, staying on top of airflow makes everything work better, especially in humid cooling conditions. So after living with it, my overall take is this. The comfort is steady, the indoor noise is low enough that I do not think about it, and the heating held up in real cold weather in a way that made me trust it. The trade-off is that ownership can require more effort up front, mostly around installation and finding a technician willing to service it. If you want something that is totally hands-off from day one, that part might frustrate you. If you are comfortable doing some of the prep work and then paying a professional for the critical commissioning steps, it can be a good experience. If you have any questions about how I set mine up, how it behaved in your kind of weather, or anything you want me to test next, leave a comment. If this video helped, subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next one. Thank you for watching.